You have time, you have energy, you want to do it, but you still don't start. You open YouTube, you scroll for a few minutes, nothing feels right. You close it, you pick up your phone again, you open it, you close it again. You have a game you actually like, you boot it up, you stare at the main menu, then you close it. There is a movie you have been meaning to watch for weeks. You press play. 2 minutes in, you stop it. You do not know why. There is a friend you have been thinking about. You open a conversation with them. You stare at the empty text field. You close the app. None of this makes sense to you because you are not avoiding these things. You actually want them. That is the part nobody talks about. Most people think procrastination means avoiding something hard, something scary, something painful. But you are not avoiding anything hard. You are avoiding things you genuinely enjoy. That is a different problem entirely. And it does not have a simple name. There is no word for standing in your own room, having everything available, and still being completely unable to begin. You know the feeling. You are standing at the edge of something pleasant, and you just cannot step forward. It is not resistance. It is not fear. It is not laziness. It is something quieter than all of those, something much harder to explain. Imagine pressing a button on a remote control, and nothing happens. You press it again. Nothing. The TV is plugged in. The batteries are fine. But there is no response. That is what is happening inside you. Your intention is there. Your desire is there. But the internal signal does not fire. It is like a disconnected controller. You move the joystick. Nothing on the screen moves. You try again. Still nothing. The input is real. The output just does not come. Or imagine an engine that will not start. You have the keys. You turn them. You hear the attempt. But the engine does not catch. This is not about effort. This is about a signal that is failing to appear. And you cannot force a signal that is not there. You can try. People do try. They sit down harder. They tell themselves to just start. They count to 3. They bargain with themselves. But none of it works. Because the problem is not in your willpower. The problem is upstream from your willpower. Something is not activating before willpower even gets a chance. Here is what is actually happening. Your brain is constantly generating emotional signals. These signals tell you what to move toward. Interest is a signal. Curiosity is a signal. Anticipation is a signal. That light feeling when you think about something you like. That small pull in your chest when something sounds appealing. Those are real signals. Your brain produces them automatically. You do not have to think about them. They just appear. And when they appear, action follows naturally. You do not decide to reach for food when you are hungry. You just reach. The signal creates the movement. But when your emotional system is exhausted, when it has been running too long under too much pressure, when it has been managing too much for too long, those signals stop appearing. Not all of them, not forever, but temporarily. The brain does something intelligent here. It conserves energy. It stops generating activation for things it does not currently have the capacity to feel. You still logically know you want something. Your mind still holds the thought, but emotionally nothing responds. There is no pull, no warmth, no internal green light, just silence where a feeling used to be. And without that feeling, action does not begin. Not because you are weak, but because action was always built on feeling. We just never noticed until the feeling disappeared. This is where it gets painful, because you do not know any of this. You just know that you are sitting there, and you are not doing anything, and you feel like you should be. So you start explaining it to yourself, and the explanations are not kind. I am lazy. That is usually the first one. I just do not have discipline. Other people manage to do things. What is wrong with me? You start comparing yourself to earlier versions of yourself. You remember when things felt easier, when you used to start things without thinking, when you used to enjoy things without effort, and you cannot figure out what changed. So you decide something must be broken in you, and then you try discipline. You try forcing yourself. You make rules. You set timers. You create consequences. And sometimes it works for a day, maybe two. But the signal still is not there. And trying to move without the signal is exhausting. It is like running with no fuel. You can push through for a short time, but you crash harder after. And then you feel worse about yourself than before, because not only did you fail again, you failed even after really trying. So the story you tell yourself gets darker. Even when I try, it does not work. There is something fundamentally wrong with me. I will probably always be like this. And now you are not just exhausted. You are exhausted and ashamed and stuck and confused and alone in it. Because from the outside, nothing looks wrong. You are not visibly struggling. You are just sitting there, not doing the thing you wanted to do. Here is what I want you to hear. You are not avoiding life. You did not lose your personality. You did not become lazy. You did not run out of potential. Your emotional response system is temporarily offline. That is it. That is the whole explanation. The part of your brain that generates the internal go signal is not generating it right now. Not because it is broken, because it is protecting you. The brain does this when it is overwhelmed, when it has been carrying more than it can comfortably hold. It pulls resources back. It goes quiet. It stops initiating things that are not immediately necessary. This is not failure. This is a nervous system doing its job, a strange job, an exhausting job to experience from the inside, but a job nonetheless. You are not a person with no discipline. You are a person whose internal activation system is resting, and you cannot discipline your way out of rest any more than you can discipline yourself out of hunger or discipline yourself out of needing sleep. The system requires something different, not effort, not pressure, not shame, just the understanding that something real is happening, something that has a name, something that is not your fault. You opened that app today and closed it again. Not because you are broken, because the signal was not there. You sat in that room, wanting to begin, and nothing came. Not because you are weak, because the system that usually starts things is quiet right now. And the quietness is not permanent. It is not a life sentence. It is not who you are. It is just where you are, right now, in this moment, temporarily disconnected. And that is something completely different from being lost.